Ciao Juventini of the world, my name is Giuseppe, welcome back on the channel. I hope you're all doing well. It's Wednesday, 23rd of August 2023. That means that we have a few more days before the final gong of the Mercato. So yes, we will speak about Mercato in today's video. If yesterday we took our time to really go in detail about the situation and the story, the topic that was quite trendy, Magnanelli, Max Allegri, today we will go towards the strategies of these last days of Mercato. A lot of exit, a lot of players that can leave and that will leave Juventus in the next few days. But since yesterday evening, we are speaking about some names. New names, old names, familiar names that are possibly coming back to Juve. You see the shirt behind me, the famous number 9 of Alvaro Morata that could possibly become a Alvaro Morata 3.0. So put a maximum of like if you didn't yet, and thank you for all the comments in yesterday's video about Magnanelli and Allegri that were quite interested. I love taking my time to read them. Continue to subscribe if you didn't yet, because every single day, and this is really appreciated, we have new Juventini on the channel, so thank you for that. Are you ready? Yes, we are. We start immediately with putting the frame around the last day of Mercato, because if we go back in time, end of May, the 1st of June, I told you it would be a Mercato where at the end, on 31st of August, you would tell me, Beppe, I am disappointed. Beppe, I am not happy. Beppe, I rate the Mercato 5.5, maximum 6 out of 10. That's how I rate the Mercato, because I am not happy. I warned you, I told you, but I also told you that if I go back in time and someone would give me a sheet of paper with a pen and tell me, Beppe, on the 23rd of August, would you sign that on that day you still have in your team Gleison Bremer, Dusan Vlahovic, Federico Chiesa, a player like at the moment Ealing, new stars, we are speaking about the extension of the contract of Adrien Rabiot, would you sign for these players still in your team on the 23rd of August? And I tell you the truth, absolutely yes. Absolutely yes. Because let's be honest and let's go towards everything we spoke during the summer. None of us were expecting that all of these players were still in our team today. We were all thinking and fearing that one of them would leave. We spoke all summer long about Lukaku, Dusan Vlahovic. We spoke about some interest from big clubs. Aston Villa in Premier League, not that much a big club, but a big league. We spoke about some interest from Liverpool, from Paris Saint-Germain for Chiesa. We spoke about Gleison Bremer that also said, yes, one day, why not? I'm attracted by Premier League, but we were all scared. We didn't know what would happen with the one that already scored 1 goal in his first game, Adrien Rabiot. So today I would tell you, I'm quite satisfied that Juventus did a big work in keeping all these big players that can be fundamental for season 23-24. But we are the 23rd of August, and that means that we still have a few days to go. That all the fears of seeing one of them leaving Juventus are not completely gone. Then, if you tell me today on the 23rd of August, Beppe, would you sign that we have no more exit, except of the unwanted ones, and no more entries? I tell you yes and no, because with one competition only, I believe that that team can do quite well in Serie A. Pay attention to the competition that started with the Turbo, Milan, Inter, Napoli, but I believe that Juventus can fight to be there at the top at the end of May 2024, but I'm not 100% convinced, because according to me, I missed 2 players. I missed one on the right side, that is my priority, because today we have Weah that still needs to adapt to Serie A. We saw that he was a bit suffering in that first game against Udinese. Let us give him a bit of time. Let us give him a bit of time to adapt to Serie A. But on the other side, we have one player, because today we are adapting Weston McKennie on the right side, and again, it's adapting a player. I have nothing against changing the role of a player. That can sometimes also be beneficial. I went through in the past a Zambrotta from the left to the right, from the right to the left, from down to up, to down to up to down. I saw a lot of players changing their position, and sometimes they are giving even better. Giorgio Chiellini from a left back to a center back. So sometimes it's even working. But Weston McKennie, we already tried to put him there on the right side, and we have to say that 1 game out of 3 is doing correctly. Then the 2 other games, it's not his position, and it will never be in his position in terms of movement. So I think that if Weah, for example, and I hope it will not happen, goes with a small injury, is a bit tired. We have a problem on the right side. So I would go definitely for a right foot player there or a left foot player that can play on the right side there, on that side of the field. And then I tell you the truth, I also miss at the moment a big, huge name in the midfield. And that's why I'm going with midfielders. I have possibly a good news. Because I believe, sincerely, in my heart, that Paul Pogba is doing much better than what they told us. He's doing much better than what we all think. I think that Paul is ready soon to play for Juventus, to play from the bench and then soon also from the start. Yesterday we saw some news about Didier Deschamps pre-calling him up for the national team of France, which is a detail, but it's super important to understand the physical condition of Paul. On the other side, we heard some journalists already saying that he would be ready after the international break to start from the start. I'm skeptical about that because we start immediately against Lazio. Probably the game after he could be a starter, but I believe that we can already see a bit of Paul against Bologna. And I believe that if you have a Paul Pogba that is Paul Pogba, even at 70% of his capabilities, you don't need to go on the market for another player. You have enough players for one competition only. So what are we speaking about? What is Juve strategy? Is Juve agreeing with me? Well, Juve have, for the few days of Mercato, two things to do. First, no extra large team, and we still have too many players, and then working on eventualities, on opportunities that could happen. What are we working on at the moment for the no extra large team? Well, there are some players that are starting to leave. Ciao Juventini, yesterday official, he will go on loan to Gil Vicente until 2024. Then we have Ciao Juventini that is that close to go to Frosinone. I know that you will tell me, Beppe, why didn't we give him a few chances? Why didn't we keep him this season with the first team? I tell you, after 18 months, you are not ready to play at high level at Juventus, especially with one competition only, without having a lot of opportunities to play, especially if we have a kid like Kean that is pushing to have some minutes. So I think it's a correct choice. Unfortunately, it will not bring a lot of money in our treasury, in our banks. But anyway, we are trying to work with shrinking the team. Bonucci is about to leave. Union Berlin is really close. They are just waiting for the approval of the player. On the other side, we can still wait a few more days because he's still trying to convince Lazio, and Lazio needs to be really convinced if Leonardo Bonucci can enter in that team that will play different competitions, like Champions League, for example. But the player will leave before the end of the Mercato. Frabotta, Venezia is interested. Anyway, he will go to a Serie B team, and then Piazza to Turkey. That's 5 more players that were on that unwanted list that are about to leave Juventus before the end of the week, before the end of August. But then we are working on opportunities. And what are the opportunities? Well, Corriere dello Sport is giving you immediately, again, the same story that they were pushing since all summer. Lukaku, Vlahovic, rieccoci. You remember in the beginning of the video when I told you, attenzione, because the fears that we had all summer long, well, they are not disappearing completely. And here is back, Lukaku that didn't find any team. We have a newness. Chelsea. And in Premier League, you can go with maximum 7 players that you can loan out from your team per season. They reached now 6 loans. So there is still a possibility for Lukaku to go on loan somewhere. Yesterday, they were speaking about Roma. They were speaking about Milan. Teams that are still looking for an extra number 9, especially Roma is pushing. I think it will be quite difficult, especially because Lukaku is at the moment, on the 23rd of August, refusing all clubs, all proposal, because he really has that agreement with Giuntoli and he wants to come to Juventus. Will it be for Dusan Vlahovic? Will Chelsea really go for Dusan? Will they increase their offer? Well, I'm quite skeptical. I'm not sure if we will see Dusan to Chelsea. I believe he will stay at Juve. At the end, I don't believe that Lukaku will join Juve, especially not for Dusan Vlahovic, but it's a name that we will have really to pay attention, and not only today. Even Gazzetta dello Sport, small on the bottom right, are saying, Lukaku, where do I put you? Speaking about Chelsea, because Chelsea, they don't want the player, they want to find a solution for him. A lot of offers arriving, and again, I repeat, at the moment, he's only taking Juventus into consideration. But then we go towards another name, Alvaro Morata. Alvaro Morata, that we didn't sign at the moment, we didn't announce, we didn't really sign, so nothing. But we heard some talks about Moiskin. The first one were from an interest of Milan that wanted him on loan, where Juventus said, we don't give him on loan, we paid him a lot of money. If you really want Moise Kean, you need to pay cash. Allegri is really believing in Moise, in his capabilities, in his qualities, in his characteristics. So it's a player that Allegri really wants to keep. A lot of people said he's out of the team. Yesterday morning we saw that he was back on training after that knock that he received on his leg. But Morata has been parked. The first contact starters in case of Moise really leaving, and to who? Well, Sevilla is interested, but especially Fulham is interested. Fulham that already sold their player Mitrovic and they're looking for another striker. They have some money cash that they can give to Juve. 30 million euro, 25 is what Juventus is requesting. In that case, last minute solution, well, a Morata could be an option. I give you my opinion, and I already gave you so many times my opinion about Morata, a player that I love, a player that I gave the spot on one of the most beautiful shirts in Juve history. I gave him the mine because he's in my heart. I love him, but according to me, and I will repeat it, we have at a certain moment to turn page. We can't go for Dusan Vlahovic that is 23, born in 2000, leaving, and a player that is 30, Lukaku, coming. We can't go for Moise Kean that is born in 2000, that is 23, leaving, with a Morata that is 30, arriving. I don't agree with that. You can do it with an exception, but it can't be the rule, it can't be the basic, it can't be your strategy for the future Juventus. It's true, we have a lot of young players, Dean Huysen, we have Kenan Yildiz, we have at the moment Ealing Jr. that we will speak about in a second, so we have a lot of players, Fagioli, Miretti, and some that are pushing and starting to be really starters in that beautiful Juventus 23, 24, 24, 25, 25, 26. But you can't, in terms also of finances, do all these kind of deals, especially because it's not over, because we are also speaking about other players. If Kean would leave and you don't have a Morata, if you don't have a Lukaku, well, there is also another player that is still there on the list, and we are speaking about Domenico Berardi, also him 29 years old, that can give you an alternative in the way that you play, because you could probably go towards a 4-3-3, 3-4-3, even if I already explained to you tactically. For me, Berardi would be an upgrade in that three-man offensively, but you are messing up with all the rest of the team that trained all summer long towards the mechanism, the patterns of that 3-5-2. So for me, that makes totally no sense. What is the situation about Berardi at the moment? Well, at the moment, Carnevali took him completely out of the market. The player is really disgusted. The player wants to leave. He's refusing everything. He refused to play. He wants to leave, and priority is Juve. I would not be surprised to, at the end, see Domenico Berardi going to another team that is not Juve, but leaving Sassuolo at the end. Then, we go back to the beginning of the video, when I told you the only thing that I would not close the Mercato for is for a right player. A player that is playing on the right side of the field. And that's where I told you a few days ago, Castagne, that we didn't hear about anymore, would be a player that I would welcome greatly, to give some change, to be an alternative to Ea, but also a player like Holm from Spezia. Today there is a meeting between Atalanta and Spezia. Atalanta has the advantage. They could possibly even close the deal today, where we have to say goodbye to the player, but it's not over yet. Why? Because Juventus is thinking about Holm. They are back on him because they understood, they identified that the player on the right side would be crucial and vital. Who is a player that could possibly leave? Well, on the papers, they are speaking about Ealing Jr. I want to add that it will be between Ealing and Kostic. For what reason? Because with Cambiaso surprising everyone and offering so much in the new game of Juve, he's a starter, not on the right, but on the left side. And when you play one competition only and you have a big starter like Kostic, that is your alternative, and behind Cambiaso, Kostic, you have a young player that needs to affirm him like Ealing Jr., one is too much. One is way too much, and that's why one of both can go and leave Juventus. Alfredo Bellola is going where? Pay attention to Kostic. He could, in the last few days of the Mercato, going again in Bundesliga, can go in Premier League. On the other side of the page, you are saying that Ealing Jr. could go to Bologna, to Atalanta, to Serie A teams. I'm not sure yet if it will be on loan, if they would go and sell him, because they are asking for 15-20 million euro for the player from England. Selling Ealing to Bologna would be a disaster to me. Loaning him out because you need to do some space and you have another alternative on the right side, I would understand it. Selling him, absolutely no. So for me, I recap about that right side. If you can sell, if there are offers and if Kostic approve them, go sell Kostic and you start with Cambiaso, Ealing on the left, with Weah and potentially a right side player like Holm or Castagne on the right side. Otherwise, if really Kostic is staying, you keep Kostic and then you loan out Ealing, but absolutely not selling Ealing. That would be for me terrible and absolutely a mistake. It is what it is, ragazzi. That was my recap in a shorter video than usual, so we didn't go to the 20 minutes. That's my recap about what can happen in the last few days. So a lot of work also for Giuntoli, Manna, Tognozzi, and also maybe for Allegri, because if really you go with a crazy strategy, Kean out, Morata in, Vlahovic out, Lukaku in, Sule, Kostic out, whatever, Berardi in, Ealing out, Holm in. Well, you have to start all over again. Everything that we saw beautifully now, you have to start again, putting these patterns in the mind of the players, in the legs of the players. So, what Juventus will it be on the 1st of September? I'm really extremely curious to see. Let me know your opinion about exit entry Mercato. Would you sign to close all the Mercato session now, today on the 23rd, or are you still expecting some player? Comment. Grazie, forza, Juve.
Juve per sempre sarà Juve, storia di un grande amore, bianco che abbraccia